Okay, it is Tuesday, November 15th. The Richland County Board of Commissioners are in session. Commissioner Vero joins by Banks and Mears, kind of a little bit of a packed house this morning. Allen Media Land, always great to have our clerk Stacy Crawl back. My favorite member of the Ball family, Randy Ritchie. The great Doc Burwell. Some other guy named Bob Ball behind him. Mr. Bob Ball. And our county administrator, Andrew Keller. We're here to talk coroner's budget, but before we do, we figured we'd start off the week with I would guess to say grim news. Is that what you called it, Commissioner Muir? Bleak. The coroners provided us some stats, and we'll let them take it away.
So me and Bob had the privilege of meeting with the DEA and CDC and the mental health board last week about our crisis in Richland County and all over the United States, frankly, over mental health and about our rise in suicides right now. So that's what you will see right in front of you is our suicide statistics right here. We broke it down by gender, race, what method they used, where in the county, and if there were any kind of substance abuse. And we are up to 27 currently right now.
So we have 27 suicides year to date in 2020.
Correct.
As young as 16,
Yes.
Our average is
85.
average is 12 a year.
So this, just so that the three of you know, the CDC through the Ohio Department of Health flagged Richland County when they saw our numbers. That's why they had the meeting to see what was going on, if there's anything they could change, make recommendations on some other issues. That's what that meeting was about, really.
So they got us together, mental health board, the veterans,
33 forever.
33 Forever, Catalyst Services to kind of pinpoint what they can do.
Right. What they can try to reach out. Joe Troyan is trying to make himself more available and more, I guess.
Provide more resources.
Yeah. More reaching out to the community, more to see. I mean, but that's what happened. That's why I was brought into Richland County. So we met for about 2 hours. I think
Yes.
it was. Yeah.
Yes. And then our second piece of paper is kind of to give you a what's been going on since 2017. So I broke it down by drug overdoses, accidental suicides, homicides, and our natural cases. We ended 2017 with overall cases of 342. We're at case number 472 as of yesterday. We're at 472. We are confirmed 41 drug overdoses as of yesterday, and we're waiting.
That seems to be down though, right?
We're
Yeah.
waiting 14.
But I see 84 in 2021. And we're at 41 now.
They're pending. There's pending.
How many are
And-
pending?
14, and we're waiting for the holidays, and that's when we get our spike. Usually around the end of the year, unfortunately.
Four was,
Last year,
Q4 number last year was
Yes.
20 more than any other year.
yeah,
Right.
we average about 60 kind of roughly
Yeah.
since I've been around.
Yeah.
Roughly.
And we normally get a spike towards the end of the year.
We only have 13 pending,
14.
14 pending,
Correct.
Well, that would take us
55.
55. So I mean,
Yeah, that's about our average.
So hopefully we'll stay around that average.
Right.
5-year high for suicides.
We get about one a week, Tony. So, I mean, you're going to be over 60. Plus there's, it'll be over 60.
Mhm.
It'll be over 60.
What's costing us in our endeavors to try to deal with this is the different type analogs that they're mixing the type of drug with. They'll change, like regular fentanyl, they'll change it to fluorofentanyl, or they'll change it to norfentanyl. And then they'll stamp it to make it look like Percocet. So we're dealing with multiple drugs when we're dealing with it. That's why the cost is so much, because breakdown and how they have to capture the type drug that's in the system.
And a
And we'll
few,
get 3 or 4 or 5 different analogs in one drug case.
a few months ago, we came and we talked about nitazines, which was down in Franklin County. We have yet to see that here. They told us it was coming our way, but we have yet to see that. So,
And that's okay.
and that's okay. We'll keep that down in Franklin County.
When you talk about the different fentanyl and all that, you know, are we saying that's suicide when they take that?
Oh, accidental.
We rule it as accidental.
It's still, yeah, no, that's not,
I assume that
unless
they're doing that when they do that.
Correct.
it would have to be accompanied by a note or
Mhm.
intentions on a computer or a cell phone or, you know, but I can't think of any.
We've had one or two that are like that. They're intentional suicides by overdose, but
Most of
it's
them
just
are.
been one or two, but most of them are considered accidental.
And none of them are just, very few. I can't think of any I've signed that says just plain fentanyl.
No.
I mean, they're all
They're
fentanyl,
all mixed.
methamphetamine,
Mhm.
fentanyl, cocaine.
Mhm.
They're all multiple intoxication.
And of course, the open border has a lot to do with this.
Probably they think now that it's coming from Mexico rather than China.
Fentanyl itself?
Yeah, they're packaging it in
Yeah.
cartels down in Mexico.
Yeah, so Mexico's where it's coming in. It was a couple of years ago, they were saying China.
Mhm.
I got a bolo this morning that said they
Got a boatload of fentanyl? Is that what you said?
No,
That's what he said.
a bolo
what he said.
from the Department of Health that they confiscated over 3 million fentanyl pills in Arizona yesterday.
Mhm.
3 million,
We leave that border open.
but it's not open, Commissioner.
I'm
I'm being sarcastic.
I'm trying to not to get political, but I can't help it.
But then it would be such a curveball from the Daryl we know and love.
Please, Mr. President, Democrats, close the damn border.
There you go.
So the bigger counties are running just like we are. you know.
Yes.
They're running just like, I talked to a couple of Franklin County people here not long ago, and they're the same. They're running. It's just nonstop.
Well,
That's the pleasant news.
normally I would say thank you for providing this information. I'm gonna pass on that. Okay, well, at least thank you for the information. That's no, and it looks like steps are being taken to at least improve it. We'll never cure it. So thank you, and let's go into the budget. Yes, you wanna go? You wanna?
I mean, it reflects,
Money.
they don't have, you have any money. You're broke. So kind of why I brought our numbers is to show you guys where we are at, and that kind of reflects in our budget. Nothing's really changed except our non-contractuals. That we are reflecting in our autopsy cost and our transportation costs. So if you go to the second page of the expenses, hopefully we don't use all of this next year, but 360,000 goes solely towards autopsies. 30,000 will go towards transportation for one company who is our primary. And then we also have a backup company if our one company is in use, which will be 10,000. Everything else is pretty much, I tried to stay as low
I
as
really think autopsies are gonna be around that amount. You know, I'm not denying that it's high. We think it's gonna be that high?
It was 192,400 last year.
Yeah,
It's 360.
how do you know?
I'm out of money.
Kind of.
Budgeted 208,000.
What do you think you'll spend this year, Randy?
Well, I still have 2 months of autopsies that I won't be able to pay.
He's getting to be just like your dad. Notice you haven't answered a question.
But 20 a month.
If you do $20,000 per month, that's $240,000 a year just for autopsies.
And you're asking for 360.
Yeah. Because I'm expecting a spike of next year.
That much of a spike?
I think it's just hard to.
It's hard to estimate for
You can't
autopsies.
gauge on an autopsy. I don't care what anybody.
No, I know, but at worst case to come, we can reduce that a little, and if you need it, we have to
Right,
pay it.
right. Then that's
That's the only problem about this is you can't gauge on an
Right.
autopsy.
Right.
There's
That's all,
been some
yes.
autopsies that we've had that normally we wouldn't have done, but because of medical history and everything else.
Sometimes.
Year to date, she's spent $224,892. There's 5,000
Okay, so that's 225, right?
Yeah.
Plus another 40,
left, which how much?
265 on the year, give or take. Even if we go with inflation at the 9%, let's just use that, that's 288.
And I still have to pay for 10,000 for a transportation company.
I'm just talking.
I still have to
straight
pay-
Autopsy cost.
Well, that line item is autopsy and transportation.
Right, so that might not even be that. Okay.
I still have to pay 20,000.
So she probably, you have enough money to pay for what? Maybe what's $5,000 gonna pay for one autopsy?
5,000 could probably pay for 1.5. We can pay for 1.5 bodies.
Transportation.
No transportation.
Are all autopsies the same cost? roughly?
Yes.
Some, okay.
They're pretty steady though, aren't they?
Yeah, he didn't.
Aren't they still at 18?
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, they did not raise them.
Didn't raise.
Regardless of cause.
No.
No.
No, they
Yeah,
raised them a
yeah, we
couple
were-
years ago, but he said he's gonna stick to it for the next 3 or 4 years where they're gonna be the
We've
same
been very
price.
lucky.
Dr. Harshberger's been great.
Yeah, you had 230 appropriated in that last year.
Mhm.
Okay. On the salaries. Around 150 and you went to 159. This year you're at 129. We're working.
Is that just where you are now? In your 2022?
What are you looking at?
Actual.
Yes,
Yes, and the actual,
Yeah.
yeah,
she's through November, I think.
You're at,
yeah.
I think that's.
That was when I sent it in, yeah.
okay, so it's gonna be roughly,
Yeah, they're at 135 now.
okay,
I'm asking to
okay, that's,
boost Tom up because I got behind on Tom. And we compared to the other counties that. I think it's very appropriate to get him. Well,
We love Tom except for where he lives, so.
Thank God for him on Sunday.
there's nothing wrong.
and I think he meant to say singular, not plural.
We're probably gonna be at that one.
Okay.
Year to date.
They're not seeking either increase. And we don't believe you're gonna need the on-contract guy.
The Tony McHiff,
We haven't had,
unless
And he-
Dr. Burwell decides to go out of the country again, I don't think so.
But yeah, we haven't made our plans this year, Tony.
Let's just say we haven't had to use Dr. McHiff or Dr. Patterson this past year. Not
You
that I
can't
know
go
of.
anywhere.
You can't really go anywhere.
I know.
Like the Coca-Cola CEO, the top heads of the company can never fly in the same plane. Right? Cause they got the secret recipe,
Is that right?
as far as I understand it.
I like the black box.
Yeah. I got nothing further.
here's the situation with the autopsies, just so that's you understand. It kind of spikes back and forth where, 1 year you're running X number of dollars and the next year. But this is what we're hearing through our resources, that if they continue changing the fentanyl analogs, our deaths will probably double in a lot of cases. Moving it through, just so that everybody, and it may not, just like this new system that came in through Columbus, we thought for sure we'd get it
Mhm.
because we usually get the flow over from Columbus. But it didn't happen. So that's kind of what she's preparing for, just in case it was spiked. But if you guys say we can come back, that's great.
Well, we'd have to pay it. So,
We're adding-
it's sort of like gasoline and, now we want to budget appropriately, so we don't want to under budget and we're just looking at numbers.
Yep.
I got nothing else, Al.
Give me a number.
I have a quick question. Tom Stort's 10% increase.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he's that far behind. With our comparisons, I haven't been appropriate with his for the last couple years.
Catch up.
Guess it's
Yes.
catch up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, we have the comparisons to show you from different counties where
Yeah.
he's very appropriate where he is for what he does.
He's been with the county for how long?
11, 12 years.
Yeah, I think that's pretty appropriate.
Thanks.
That's all I got.
Al?
Yeah, I don't have any questions other than if I could have a copy of Randy's reports. on the
Randy, would you be
suicide.
so, will you, do you have Al's email?
I do have Al's email.
She will send that to you, Alan.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
You read it and you won't sleep at night.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
It's public.
He's at a company retreat, so he wants to call me later. I said it'll cost
I
him
did the
coffee.
Same thing for
Thanks for being patient with us. man.
mental health.
They'll keep it out of the.
Motion to certify the record of proceedings for November 10th, 2022. There is a typo, Stacy, on page 4. It says loose, and it's supposed to be noted as more expensive to lose people. It should be LOSE.
I had that same thing, yeah.
United Way.
Up there.
Hey, we have a motion.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Wonderful.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Oh, man,
Thanks.
everyone-
Yes. Okay, motion to approve requisitions.
So move.
Second.
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
That's it for now. Anyone have any other? All right, we will recess until 10 a.m.
This is for that big unit.
All right, 10 o'clock, we're back at it. Budget hearings, joined by our maintenance superintendent, Josh Hicks, Rachel Schroeder in central services.
We're gonna talk about air purifiers first.
First, we're gonna talk about air purifiers.
Yes, I want nothing to do with his budget, so,
Rachel,
okay,
Pay for these.
well, that's what we're trying to come up with.
Good.
broke. That's what I tell everyone. And then Judge Nomoff scoffs.
Every day. But I do have good news that I'll be coming to the commissioners over janitorial contract. They have agreed to hold our prices for next year.
And then you're gonna use that to say, see, we save money so we can have air.
No, I just told them I didn't want to be bad news,
I
Rachel.
know how this works.
Only if you buy the air purifiers from them.
Right.
No, janitorial is Friendly Wholesale, not Friends Office. So why we're coming to the commissioners is because we've always had issues with our building. It's the oldest building that we have in the county. It's a terrible setup. We have, HVAC, forget it. It's not like this building where everything is connected. So we can't put any kind of purification system in to cover everybody. We have individual, like our office
There's
area is like,
units in each room instead of
Yeah.
having one.
There's no central.
there's no central.
So
So my air conditioning sits above me.
the hospital
Yes.
do that.
1943 was when I think it was 43, that our section was built,
It's older than me.
and it is the original. I have the original air conditioning, I have the original heating. So, what has really brought this on is that, first of all, there's no great solution to try to help our air in our building. This year has been extremely bad. You guys don't realize it, but when the coroner's office goes to a call and there is a body that is decomposing and they bring it back to our building, that is in our air. We smell that. All the smokers outside of our building comes right into our office. When the sheriff's department does a bust, and we're happy they are busting people, they bring in marijuana plants. Marijuana, when it's fresh and it's cheap marijuana, not the good grade that they
How do you know it's good grade?
Kind of sewer.
Yeah, I know. How do you know?
smell like skunk. So what comes in our
Careful.
building,
Recorded to the public here.
it smells like
Sheriff
skunk.
Sheldon.
And our building will smell like skunk until it's dried out.
Well, she's really laying it on thick for these air purifiers. She's gonna tell you there's a family of skunks living in her office, nested in.
There isn't, but I did have a mouse the other day.
I heard a mouse last night in her house.
Is it an area or is it by river?
Ever hear them in your house?
It's just,
Right. There's unit vents. What it is the boiler system heats the water and then it's shipped to the unit ventilator in each room. And then that's what blows
Is it ductwork? It's the radiators.
it's not a radiator, it's a unit ventilator.
So what are we looking at the cost so you don't have to smell the wacky tobacco?
wacky tobacco. So we did do some research. What we came up with, and this unit was fantastic, because we did have it in our office and it was great. Again, because of our setup, it's going to be expensive, but the 3 offices, for individual units, we're looking at $839.58
Total or each?
total. They did recommend.
Wait, $800 total?
For the 3 office.
Our
Okay, so
office.
$400, give or take.
Yes, well, and if we get
It's
no,
279 per
279
unit,
per unit
which
total.
would be per office.
So you're asking for what's your total ask?
It depends on what you're willing to give us.
What would you, what
Office
think you have?
total, we would like to have about $3,000.
How did we get from 800?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
because this is,
So the 3 individual offices would be $839. And then the conference room that's in there, that unit
with
came
additional,
to, with
yeah.
the filters came to $2,104.
So you're talking just your office area.
just our.
That's just that,
Are these standalone or do you have to vent them to the outside? You have
they're
They're standalone.
standalone.
They're
to
standalone.
knock through a wall for any.
No,
You have to change a filter, you have to,
Yeah,
We do
there's
have-
filters for it.
you got ongoing maintenance costs.
It's really gonna help your smell, really, you think?
Believe it or not, when we were in that meeting and they had it turned on, within, what was it, like 6, 7 minutes, you could tell a difference in the air. You could. And you guys don't realize it until you're sitting there and then all of a sudden it's like, it is different. And I don't have a real great sense of smell since having COVID. So for me, it is all about the differences. And it's not so much that I smell it. It's just a different smell in the office.
They waited till
In
Christmas
here.
season to ask for this.
Why?
I don't have a problem with it. We have
Because it's skunk weed.
things that better for our group out there.
Yeah, we can't have you living like that.
else we don't want. We can always say no. They're unique, right? They're
Oh,
little.
they're unique.
Right.
They're between all the,
Right. I'm fine with it.
You make a good case.
We have money in capital.
Feel sorry for us because. of
We do.
the corpses and the- I'm
Get
sorry.
a quote, work with Josh and Stacy.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. You feel sorry for me, right?
Yeah, we're saving up the nose for
For John.
Henderson over here.
Like wrapping up those bills every day
The filter-
for me.
the filters, often they have to be,
So
how much they are.
through them, they were what, $200
Yeah, they were
basically.
$233 and $271 because one of them is
But these
carbon.
filter,
Well, but
We can
they
explore.
last for, what was it? A year?
Every-
Yeah, they were a year. So, but they're really like, it's multi-layers. And so it's carbon and charcoal. So
okay.
no, it's carbon and something else because carbon is charcoal. There's another layer. The way it goes through,
There
it's
was
about this
basically a
thick.
HEPA filter and a
So how do you have to dispose of those
dumpster.
special fashion?
In the dumpster.
Dumpster?
Yeah. So,
It also had an ionization built in, which we put in all the other central air units.
yes,
For the clarification.
absolutely. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you. See you, Rachel.
I had a quick question. Which offices are those for?
It would be for central services and risk management.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Josh. Tell us about your budget.
So this year, the biggest increase would be the utilities. And then everything. Chuck had it built in, to go to 222,000 for just say, for example, for, overall the 220,000. And it was close on that, so I bumped it to 230,000. That's for the first one, and then People's Utilities was 125, and we're really close on that. I bumped it to 130. And Longview Center was 79. I bumped to 82.5. Most of the utilities, just the price of it is increased. And supplies this year, I've increased a lot of my supply items because increase of
Everything.
everything.
contract service, I see. Quite a bit.
Yeah, the cleaning. So this year, the cleaning services, it's due for bid in January. Well, the contract is over in February. Rachel and I will be working on that here in December and the first part of January, getting that out for bid. In discussion with the floor care company and the regular cleaning company, I suspect there's about a 20% increase, just from discussions with them.
Believe you would be correct.
Looking at capital projects, you got about $1 million capital next year. Line 76. That excludes the fourth courtroom.
Correct. So in discussion, had to bump up the engineers not a title to 2023 because of deterioration. And while we're there, replacing a air conditioner unit and the controls. Still waiting on quotes for that. Continuing our lighting upgrades.
Any words on the globe lights?
No, I have not. So I've extended that into next year. While we're on the front of the courthouse, the old planters out front, they're really deteriorating and we're gonna have to do something, whether it be replace them or just pour flat concrete and then come up with some different types of planters
We
or,
don't have that in here though. Do you?
yeah, it'd be under the courthouse. Old planter removal.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I do see that.
Sidewalks all the way around the building. Sidewalks are needing repair.
You've put a lot of money into capital. That's what you gotta do to maintain and grow. It's like business, right? Good news is though, if you look, we continue to do this, man, it decreases substantially by 2025.
There's gonna be several things that do fall off. There's gonna be more stuff that gets added, just learning
Gosh, you got me excited there for a second.
how this works. But by bumping up some of the roof projects to next year, we'll complete the courthouse.
We have money in our capital projects. We anticipate filling it at the end of the year. So I say if you can do it, right?
Yeah.
We have the money, let's do it. That's why you invest in capital, so. I don't see anything there that I would say no to. You can get it done, let's do it.
I have a question on the personal service schedule.
Yep, I just pulled that up.
Numbers don't match up. Medical, my guess is that, for example, on the total wages,
So are you looking at the numbers on the left-hand side where it says total?
actually, I was looking on the one on the far right, for example, total wages is 408,074.
Correct.
On the front sheet is 410. So I'm guessing you just kind of rounded up from these numbers on the main sheet.
Yeah,
Okay, 5917 for Medicare translates to 5945 on the front. So 591707. And I guess you just round it up on the front sheet because they're not the exact same numbers, but okay, that's all.
so while we're on the personal service schedule, I left in there an assistant superintendent, possibly bringing somebody up if that came up, and then a seasonal worker. The seasonal position was eliminated when Dayspring
Right.
had taken on their own maintenance program. And then with the elimination of the position out there and me taking over the maintenance worker, it was brought to my attention to possibly hire a seasonal for 3 to 4 months
In the summer.
in the summertime, May, June, July, August, just depended on how it worked out.
Talk to us about the assistant superintendent position again a little more, please.
Okay, so the assistant, it was set up to possibly raise somebody from my work crew. At this time, it's working pretty well. I left that in there from last year, just so that way it's in the budget,
So that's not in addition to staff, it would be a promotion.
a promotion, correct?
Okay. I got nothing. Daryl?
No, I have nothing. Gosh, I think you did a good job
Yep.
here. Appreciate you and have to say appreciate Chuck Minnick and what he's taught you.
Yeah, he had everything lined up pretty well for the year and is just trying to
Everything Daryl said, doing a great job.
I'll hold mine depending upon when the globe lights come in.
buy in demand.
And you
Al?
always accept, I can always reach you and you're always
Yep,
responsive.
you're great. Al, anything?
No, nothing right now. Thank you.
All right, we will recess until 10:45. Okay, we are here for our last budget hearing of the day. The wonderful Michelle Swank, who had a fun Halloween lunch last week. It was very well done. We had a blast out there. Aaron Collins was even teaching people to do the moonwalk.
Got some
So-
pictures that soon they are gonna go on Facebook.
Oh, dear word. So let's talk about East Springs budget. Looks good. You put a lot of detail in it. Well, let's go over the highlights. We're looking at you. You're the boss.
Oh, okay. I guess my biggest concern would be our food supply line item as well as our cleaning supply line item. Those have, I guess you might say, really taken a hit
Yeah.
for the pandemic and with the cost of gas and inflation. I believe the amount I have set aside, which is 190,000, should get us through the food. This year, through October, we've spent 167,860. So we are on track to spend about 190, maybe a little less. One particular, I guess, example to show just how the price of the food is fluctuating. My food, for the most part, is made up of two different Gordon Foods contract, and then Smith's Foods. Smith does our milk, our eggs. So that particular bill weekly does not, I mean, we don't buy a ton of eggs one week and not the eggs. It stays relatively the same. In January, the bill was about $264. In November 4th, when we paid, it was $448. So the price of food has gone quite a bit. And we're also paying for the first time ever a $15 a week delivery fee. But we are hopeful that if the gas prices, the diesel prices ever back down, we will see a difference there. So we're hopeful that number will be enough for us.
Worth pointing out too, in 2017, it was about half of what you're projecting for next year. The 100,064, now you're at 190,
Right.
almost double 5 years.
So, yeah, I mean, the food is, and you have to eat. I mean, that's one thing that you have to have. Cleaning supplies is also, we are still seeing the price of gloves. Just for a case of gloves, it used to be $22. Now when we buy it, it can be anywhere from 90 to 120 for the same box, the same case of gloves. And you, again, a facility like ours has to have gloves. We have to have med cups. We have to have toilet paper, paper towels. Those are two that I watch quite a bit.
What has changed?
So, I think those are the big two. I know Josh Hicks, our superintendent of maintenance. We are looking at our boiler situation. That is something that we're going to need to address. He's still trying to get amounts. So, if you see the negative, we hope to pull from our carryover to deal with our boiler. Also, we need to do our project where we promised to work on our laundry boiler house. Again, that was money saved from our roof from a couple of years ago. I wanted to do it in 2022, but we just have too many big projects going on at the same time.
I don't see Jennifer Francisco. Is that correct? Am I saying that right?
Jennifer Francisco,
An S missing. That's what I figured it was. Have it as Francisco. I don't see that S.
oh, she is an RN, so she would be down under the non-bargaining.
Right, but if you look, it's spelled Francisco.
Oh, well, let me fix that.
So is she presently working then?
She is. She works every Wednesday evening.
Okay. So that's what I was,
Picture on that page, the question marks by the names, those are unfilled right now?
Yes. So when I budget as if I have every single employee in place for the entire year. That would be lovely. Not happened in my day spring yet.
So it looks like you've got a total of 45 lists here, but only 36 occupied.
Anybody listed as a PRN, which is, I think it's unique to a facility, to healthcare, and they are as needed. They are not on the schedule. They fill in. But I also go ahead and I account for them working a little bit each month. So if they don't work at all, that's just money that is never spent. I would rather have enough sitting in the salary than not enough.
Jennifer's a registered nurse, right? I make sure I'm trying to update my spreadsheets. That's what I wondered if, what the heck I did.
Well, now Summer, an employee with us for quite some time. She was an LPN and went back to school and became an RN. Her rate has gone up accordingly, and she's moved out of the bargaining unit exempt side.
I do not show a Jennifer. That's what I'm saying. I tried every variation of her name. If I do an active search under,
New Hope had her first. So if you look, she's an employee for New Hope. And then she also works for us.
so she just hasn't switched over in Munis because I looked everywhere to find her to match.
What I understand, since New Hope had her first, she will stay a New Hope employee. But she also works for us one day, and then she can also pick up.
So if you search her name, it should,
Unless I have it spelled wrong, I mean, which is possible.
It's CISCO. So
Full-time in New Hope and part-time.
No, she's a PRN. I don't think she's got a set schedule. I think she's a PRN.
Sometimes there and sometimes for you.
Well, she's set on our schedule, one day a week. Before we had her join up with us, we wanted to make sure that between the two of us, we didn't schedule overtime. So they need nurses, we need nurses. So we've made it work out.
have you checked with HR to make sure she can do both, which I imagine she could, but we don't have any conflicts of
It
interest.
was, and then it was also dealt with payroll. It makes a little bit more work to make sure it's done because she can only exist for one of us. But it's worked out. She's been with us for,
And what's her hourly rate then when she works for you guys?
the RN is at $26.
6, okay. 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 That makes it, I was trying to find her and I'm going, I don't see her, and I tried different variations of names. The other question I had is, make sure we're on the same page. I show we raised Stevens NIP to 2427, yes?
Yes, so that should be 2427.
And it says 2484 for 2023.
That should be 2512.
So we're bumping her up to 2512.
Right,
So that's off. That's the other thing I noticed.
right. Her, the job description and the wage rates were redone after I submitted the budget. So those were as a placeholder.
Okay. All right, that clears things up for me. I don't have any more questions. Now, you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, we're plugging along here, seeing nothing further this morning. We will recess until 1:30.
Thank you, Michelle. Really well done.
Thank you.